you know, I hear stories, but I can tell you this, that I have never had anything but positive experiences with the VA and the VA hospitals. I know that's not always the case, but I speak very, very favorably of the VA. But, you know, there are two types of disabled veterans as I can identify them. There's that immediate need disabled veteran, you know, the man that came back with the prosthesis, you know, the you know, PTSD isn't always evident initially, but it's something that comes about fairly soon, you know, after returning. But then there's the veteran who, you know, when he received his wounds or he received some type of disability, when he was young, it didn't incapacitate him. But then later in years, you know, they start having these aches and pains and hearing loss and things like that, and they didn't identify them initially when they came back. It is, and I'm asking this as a question, very important that when a veteran returns home, that he gets in contact with organizations like DAV, VFW, any other service officers that are involved with the VA. The county has a Veterans Affairs officer.
Yeah, right, they have county directors and outreach personnel too.
It's so important that they find out what their benefits are. I'm not talking about housing and education, but you know, I am talking about those, but also, you know, the claims, they have future claims for the, you know, disabilities.
Right.
It is important, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a three-pronged criteria we talk about a lot in our circles, and it said you have to have a current condition or disability. You have to have some evidence of an in-service event or injury, okay? And you have to have a medical link between the two. And I'll just be very candid with you. Veterans usually have something in service that caused their problems. They usually have something now, okay, that they're suffering from. Where claims typically fail, okay, is the medical link. The VA has a duty to assist a veteran obtaining a medical examination, and if so, in some cases, a etiology opinion as to how one thing caused the other. And sometimes a doctor will review the records, usually a VA doctor, maybe a contracted doctor. They may not find what they believe, this is an opinion, this is not a medical fact now. They believe in their opinion to be a causation between something that happened in the service and a current disability, yeah, if one's found. When you file a claim so many years after the fact, and I'll be very clear, we can't make the VA pay them for what they didn't file for. Yeah. If you didn't file, you don't have a right to benefits for the issue you never filed for. The second piece of it is that if you don't file, there's all of this time. You have now this gap of years and decades even sometimes. There's all these things that can happen. Life happens to us, okay? People have car accidents, they have work-related injuries, other things happen. So now, while you may have had a parachute jump injury in service, you hit the ground 14 miles an hour, busted up your knees, your hips, your back hurt. You went to see the PA, he said you're fine, you know, but won't annotate some contusions, yada, yada, yada. 20 years later, you're saying, well, I've got arthritis in my hips, my knees, and my back, and I did 57 jumps. The VA is not automatically going to say, well, we see a relationship here. They're going to ask a doctor because it's a medical question.
Absolutely.
If that doctor does not give the link, that veteran's case will likely not be granted. Now, part of what we work to do at DAV, part of what I train my staff to do is say, listen, if we know that the medical link is the biggest, you know, pitfall, if you will, then let's work on getting a copy of the veteran's records, tabbing those records, giving them a medical opinion request, because I can't answer the question myself, and letting a doctor of orthopedics or a doctor who's competent in that field of medicine base an opinion on facts, current examination, and apply their medical and scientific knowledge reliably to those facts, and giving us an assessment that now that we file the claim with the VA, we have the ability to file what's called a fully developed claim, which means we're giving them the opinion, we're giving them the current medical evidence. The VA, if they don't already have the medical records, we're giving them the medical records. And we're looking at trying to get these cases resolved. Now, the VA's standard guidelines is 90 to 120 days for a fully developed claim. We say, well, nothing usually happens in a short amount of time as we'd like, so we'll give it 3 to 5 months before we start really taking a hard look into where they're at and what they're doing. A fully developed claim can take, well, 90 to 120 days by VA timelines, realistically, maybe 3 to 5 months. A traditional claim that you file online, or you just fill out the paperwork and giving it to a VA benefits counselor, or, you know, if it's not fully developed when you file it, can revert back to a traditional claim that takes, you know, 6, 9, 12, sometimes 14 months. Okay, and I'm not saying that that's acceptable. I'm saying that that's the reality.
Yeah.
Okay. And as much as VA has hired a lot of staff members, and they have, you know, you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 times that amount estimated coming back from service. Veterans who are getting older, who had careers their whole lives, who didn't need the VA and didn't want to use the VA, who are now needing the VA and using the VA and filing for claims. So you have the older veterans who are filing. You have the younger guys coming back who are filing. You have the Agent Orange related cases that are mandated to be worked and covered if they were like the heart disease, the Parkinson's, and the hairy B-cell leukemia. VA went through close to a 16-month freeze, not necessarily a freeze, but slowed down on all the cases to give priority to these cases because it was court mandated. So you've got these different external forces that are affecting the benefits processing system. And we know that there are certain things that actually work. And so we're utilizing those processes that actually work so that our clients, you know, don't have to, hopefully don't have to wait so long. You know, and of course, with that, we get to work closely with them to get what they need to get the case supported so that we can, you know, hopefully expect a favorable outcome.
For our local viewers, is there someone that they can contact locally as far as joining a chapter of the DAV, and as far as a veteran service officer or anything like that? Do you have that information for us?
I've got some information for you. Okay, the hospital service coordinator, okay, at a Wilkes-Barre, his name is Leonard Krupp, and the number is 570-820-3521, extension 7925. He's at the hospital, and what he does is he helps with the vans, getting the vans to and from the VA at the medical center to arrange rides. We have our State Department of Pennsylvania that's out of Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. Their phone number is 717-761-4060. And we have a service officer there in Camp Hill. We also have a benefits office in Wilkes-Barre as well. And we have a department service officer there. If you call the hospital, they'll get you transferred into our staff member at the Wilkes-Barre contact office. And you know, you can always contact ourselves at the Philadelphia regional office at 215-381-3065.
What was that again, 215?
381-3065.
Okay.
Typically every year around February, March timeframe, we'll start publishing our outreach for the vans, for the mobile service offices. So we have on our website at www.dav.org, we have a calendar that you can access, and it'll tell you where we'll be stopping. Okay, and of course, if anyone's interested in having a stop, okay, just let us know, let me know, and we'll do what we can to accommodate.
Scranton has a local chapter of the DAV?
Yes, Scranton does. It'd be Chapter 1. It's at 625 Deacon Street, Scranton, PA, 18509. They usually meet third Monday of every month at 7 p.m. And the phone number to reach the chapter is 570-342-9582.
Well, Timothy, thank you very much. I'd like to thank our guest today, Timothy Grossman, who is a National Service Officer for the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. If you are a veteran and you are disabled, this is one of the finest organizations you can belong to. We're going to put some information on crawl on the bottom of the screen for you to contact people at the DAV. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back.